right, let's go to this story then. The South African Union of Students has rejected the proposed amendments to the National Credit Act. They're saying that the situation will worsen unemployment among young people. The Department of Trade, Industry and Competition has submitted a draft proposal which would allow student debt, the debt you incur as a student, to then be listed with credit bureaus. This then means that students will come straight out of university and find themselves either blacklisted or with adverse credit records because of that debt. For more on this, we're joined by the South African University Students Association's spokesperson, Thato Masekoa, who joins us now. Thato, appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us. How bad is this for students? Because you come out of varsity thinking, well, I have the opportunity to now get myself somewhere, but now you'll have this debt that hangs around your neck and the inability to even move forward because of the adverse credit record.
No, and I thank Warabile, and thanks for having us. Look, this is bad for the country, this is bad for young graduates, this is bad for young professionals who in fact find themselves in this crisis. Rather, even the proposal is spit on the face of the feast must fall generation. Moreover, this fact affects mostly young people who are from poor background and the working class, majority black to be more precise, because education is expensive, my brother, and once education is expensive, we know that we strive to get education. We strive to better the situations around ourselves. And what we have seen is that the proposal seeks to blacklist. You can imagine, once you are blacklisted as a young professional, already automatically your employment rate, your credit to buy a car, to buy a house, to buy anything on a credit, you are already at a back foot. And this in particular, you would have seen that it seeks to bring young students who literally have just graduated into debt and to recycle them and to drown them into debt. We see it as a way that the government is failing on its own duties to at least create meaningful ways to find ways to scrap the historic debt. We know that the people who do not have money to pay are most of the time, if not all the time, people who are poor, from poor background, the working class, and that affects them badly. And this, in fact, as the South African Union of Students, we reject it with the content that it has, and it must be reversed without even thinking twice.
Yeah, one might ask then, what current policies are helpful in this situation? And, are there ones that could positively affect the ability for students to actually get debt and not work? Because at this point in time, you get this credit or you get this debt to you, and ultimately it just puts you on the back foot, as we've been noted. So how do current credit policies already affect students' ability to fund their education?
Look, automatically once there is no better policy in place that we believe is progressive, that speaks on a student's ability to repay while they do not have money. It is our view that students must not pay, like the fees must fall generation have indicated, the fees must fall, and etc. and etc. And without even taking it further, historic debts. We are from a conference of SAUS, the 9th conference of SAUS, and one of our key aspects is that the sector on its own and the government must really look into scraping out fees completely out of the system, because once a student owes you, you're already at a back foot. And there is nothing glorifying about owing a debt. In fact, we want students, after you graduate, you must start on the same foot as everybody else. Start making your own life seeming. Now, if you're already starting to work, and at the same time you already don't have, you're starting to work, you don't have, on the same level, you're not starting on the same level, you already have a debt of some sort along your neck. This means that you must start paying the debt, starting to set up your life. Yeah. Already we know that the gap between the poor and the rich has already vastly increased, and that has put us at a very disadvantage. And therefore, it was our view and our call that debts must not be there for students in particular. This must be an incentive for students to say, if you go to school, we scrape out this debt so that you can actively participate in the economy of the country. And this must be the message preached that we think is best. Not that students must be subjected to repaying of debts, because that we see as a regressive, anti-poor, anti-progressive, and anything anti-progressive.
Thato, how much could this influence dropout rates in universities?
Look, it already, you know very well that the dropout rate is very high, and most of the time is based on access. That speaks to access, meaning financial exclusion, which is the core fundamental problem in as far as dropouts is concerned. Once you put this in place, you make the youth of the country and students in particular to lose hope in education. And therefore, it can vastly increase the dropout rate in the country and affect the students in general very negatively. Therefore, that's why we are calling for the immediate withdrawal of this proposal. That's why we, in fact, reject it.
There's the other side of this, Thato, that I must then bring up as well in the interest of fair journalism here, which is that at the end of a varsity term, somebody who may owe debt, whether it be to NSFAS, which we've continued to speak about on this channel, or any other debt, then perhaps doesn't pay it back. There's a large amount of outstanding debt. And I know you're speaking about cutting out that debt and clearing it. But there's so many people who haven't paid it, which then impacts the ability for somebody else to then have that ability to then study in future because of that funding. What other proposals would you then recommend for a situation like this?
So, of course, you put it very well, Warabile, my brother, that maybe your inability to pay might likely affect the other person. But there are multiple factors that affects this. You can only pay if you are employed. We have seen unemployment is on the rise almost, and the worst case scenario is that now you find almost everybody being affected by unemployment. That speaks to all sectors, all students in the sector. Basically, no one is safe from unemployment, and you cannot pay if you're unemployed. Right, and these guys keep on looking for money, even from people who are not paid. When you look at that, it already is a shift of responsibility from the government. But without any looking like we also are on the table to bring out solution. One of the solutions that must be thought about is that maybe you know how if you are to, when you finished your degree, the government should be in position to create an employment opportunity for you. Maybe that's one of the ways that could be looked at. But you are left alone. You have taken a loan. You have got a degree, but you don't have employment. You get employment for 3 months. And after that, you are retrenched or something else happens. Companies are closing down. The economy is bad. There's nothing good happening in as far as opportunities for young people are the case. And that, of course, has an impact on the inability to pay for young people. And in fact, this could have not been a situation provided that there is a viable solution in as far as the funding crisis is concerned. And you would have seen we've got a lot of students who are NSFAS beneficiaries to date without degrees. Well, there is an understanding that people who are coming from NSFAS do not have means to an end. And if you don't have a degree, some employers will not even take you because they might believe that your degree is not valid for whatever reasons, or even not even shortlist you, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, look, Thato, I've only got 30 seconds. Very quickly, how do you mobilize students around this? In 30 seconds, please. So
what we do is that as a union of students, we work with SRCs across the country. So the only way we work is we lobby SRCs to join the call, to withdraw, and of course bring a solution on the table, and then we take it from there. But without even thinking twice, the proposed amendment must be rejected, must be withdrawn with immediate effect. Minister Pakstau must reconsider this and withdraw that with immediate effect, and consult the youth, progressive youth in the country who can offer the best solution around this than to want to criminalize education.